is working. Testing. Let's see this one. Testing. All right, cool. It's working. Just want to make sure. I know this is earlier than usual with my live streams, but that's why I'm doing it, because it's out of the ordinary. And I'm excited, honestly. Usually I do it late at night. I get really tired real fast, as opposed to right now it's 4:53 p.m. Eastern time. So, and I can actually use natural lighting as opposed to artificial lighting, so that will help too. But yeah, I just wanted to go over some things that I'm planning to do for my channel, as well as videos that I've recently filmed and that will be coming out in the following years, I should say. Because I'm pretty much, in terms of Academy Award videos, I'm pretty much set until 2026, early 2026. And then I'm also doing my director ranking lists, and that I'm set up until, as of right now, I think it's September of 2025. I just finished filming and editing my Mel Brooks films list. That I think ranking will come out in September 2025. So next I'm doing Charlie Chaplin, and that will be coming out October of 2025. So I am set. So if you guys wanted to know like ahead of time when certain director ranking lists are coming out, I'll be more than happy to answer that on this live stream. I am also planning to rank Bob Fosse, who he only did 5 films. I've seen 3 of them, so I only have 2 of his films to watch. Kevin Costner, I only have 1 Kevin Costner film right now to watch, so I'm planning to just wait until those Horizon films come out, and then after that, then I'll rank his work. David Leitch, he recently had, what was it called, The Fall Guy. I've seen all of his work, so I was thinking about doing that, but I'm on the fence because I feel like not many people know about him as a director, so we'll see though. Ruben Fleischer, same thing. I've seen all of his work, but I know he's a director that not many people are aware about. And then Damien Chazelle, I do want to rank all of his films. I just have one more film of his to watch, and that was his debut film. And then Yorgos Lanthimos, I only have Kinds of Kindness to watch, which is coming out, I believe, next month. So once I watch that, I'll then rank his work. And then recently, I decided to rank Satoshi Kon's films, the director who did Perfect Blue. So I've seen 2 out of 4. So I'll be finishing the 3rd film tonight, and then I'll just have Paprika. So Paprika will then finalize me seeing all 4 of his films, and then I'll probably film and edit that ranking. That will come out. I would say probably at the end of 2025. And then I have a bunch of top 10 lists. Matt and Mache boys. What's up, yo? Hey, how you doing, man? You a new subscriber, or how long you been subscribed? Ace Platts, what's up, man? Dude, doing this live stream, that way we can talk about Dexter. I know you had a lot of questions, so I was like, instead of answering it on YouTube comments, I was like, okay, we could do live stream. If you guys aren't yet following me on Letterboxd, make sure to follow me on Letterboxd. I have the link down below, and then I also have my Twitter link, what's it called, Facebook movie page, and then Instagram movie page as well. So you guys can follow me on those as well. Mate and Mache boast, I think it's weird ranking people's movies when they can make future videos. Oh, I totally get that, man. So honestly, one of the reasons why I do that is so that way I can look back at like, hey, this is my mindset of their movies, like as of right now. That's why I always try to say at the beginning of this video, it's like, hey, I filmed this in, said month and year. So that way people can know my ranking. And to be honest with you, rankings change daily. I mean, I think I said in my most recent ranking video that won't be coming out for another year or two. Stanley Kubrick, that ranking list that I did 5 years ago, I don't stand by that ranking list anymore. It's changed. I mean, like I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan. Like I had The Shining as my favorite film of his. Now it's 2001: A Space Odyssey. It changes. Like, and that's what's great though about opinions in terms of an art form. It can change. Nothing is really set in stone. Ace Blitz, literally in the middle of a Dexter episode right now. Just have to pause so we can talk right now though. Yeah, opinions change all the time. Yeah, dude. How far into season 6 are you of Dexter? I'm curious. And yeah, I will say this about opinions. That's what I love about films and TV shows is that you can, especially if you track it on Letterboxd, you can see how much your opinion's changed. Like I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me, and it's also been the opposite. Like there have been some films where I loved it, and then it was like, oh no, I don't really like that anymore. Or a movie like Taxi Driver. I didn't like Taxi Driver the first time I saw it, but now it's one of my favorite films of all time. Things change. Um, Man, Mashivos. My favorite movies are Reservoir Dogs, Taste of Cherry, and Happiness. Like all three. Actually, I own all three on physical media. Reservoir Dogs. That's a good example. Reservoir Dogs is a film. The first time I saw it, I thought it was solid. Watched it the second time on 4K and really, really liked it. Taste of Cherry, blind bought that on Criterion. Really good film. Definitely a film that sticks with you. And then Happiness, I own the DVD, which I think is worth like $40. Happiness is really good. So good. Ace Plus, Dexter and Travis are about to go and try to kill Geller. Okay, so I'm trying to think. Did you get past the road trip episode? That's my least favorite episode of all of Dexter, I would say. I like not a fan. Again, trying to be vague in case you haven't gotten up to that moment yet. Yeah, I haven't ordered. Okay. Yeah. That episode, I'm not sure about you, but I really didn't like that episode. It's just it seems like I understand that in films and TV shows sometimes you'll have a detour and it's like one of those things where it's supposed to be like, hey, this is life. Sometimes things just go nowhere because sometimes that happens in life. That just seemed like an episode where it was like a filler episode, like from an ABC show. It was just very like, huh? So that was episode 7, Nebraska. Yeah, I think that's the episode I gave like a 5 or 6 out of 10, which for a TV show is pretty low for me. These splits, I 100% get that. I hope also, by the way, I hope you haven't read up anything on season 6 because I made the mistake of I think it was season 6. I was looking at like the trivia after watching the episode, and there was one episode where I looked at the trivia on IMDb, and it spoiled a future episode. I don't know why it did that, considering that if I'm on episode, let's say 4, why would you spoil something from like episode 12? Doesn't make any sense. But that was my own fault, so now I know not to do that. Splits. Yeah, I know no spoilers. Okay, you're in for a treat then. I think the twist is something that because I knew I was able to see it coming, but if you don't see that twist coming in season 6 of Dexter, I think you'll enjoy it, honestly. Ace Blitz, heard the finale is great. Yeah, there's something they do in the season 6 finale, Dexter, that I did quite like, and I do think that it does a pretty good job of setting up season 7, which season 7 is the best season of Dexter since I would say season 4 easily. And I'm saying that as someone that likes season 5. Plus, like in season 6, the more it goes on. Yeah, I think once you get a handle of like the dynamics of the characters and how it's like the ripple effect of each episode building, it does get better. I know you had a question about Walking Dead, so I can answer that now because you asked me why I stopped watching Walking Dead. To be honest with you, it started feeling quite repetitive. I wasn't really interested in the characters, and I also just felt like the zombie genre is something that I can appreciate, but not caring about the characters, not really being that interested in the filmmaking. There just wasn't really anything for me to grasp onto. So I just was like, all right, I'm out. My wife actually, she watched several seasons of Walking Dead, but she bailed. I think it was like season 8. It just, I can't really get into the universe. I wish that I could, because again, I do like horror, and I think that horror and TV is something that's interesting, but wasn't a big fan. Let me see. Ace Plus heard season 7, amazing. Can't wait. Pretty sure the first episode is a 9.49 DB. Yes, the first episode of season 7 is excellent. Definitely, well, actually, one of my favorite of that season. Mate, Mashebos, did you watch any Israel movies or TV shows? Off the top of my head, let me look up on my phone because off the top of my head, I can't really think of any. But let me just to give you a good answer. Let me just let me look it up real quick. Um, I feel like not that many. Like I try to watch a decent amount of international films, but I might not have seen that many from Israel. Um, I've seen in terms of movies set in Israel, I've seen some like Munich, but I know Munich. It's a Steven Spielberg film. I know it's not an actual Israel film. Same with like Operation Finale. Like I've seen a decent amount of films that take place in it, but not like films where it's like actual Israel. So to answer your question, I don't think so. A Splits, it's so repetitive. I can 100% understand. I watch all of it just because I finished everything. Yeah, so that's usually my mindset too. When I start a show, I'm gonna try to finish it. That's I have that mentality. It's the same thing with movies in a lot of cases where it's like if I start a franchise, it's like the MCU. I started the franchise. I think it was like 2009, 2010. So at this point, it's like I may as well continue, even though that's going to be a franchise that will continue until like I'm 85. Um, but when it comes to shows, it's like there's so much time investment. So it's like I go into a show either where I've started from the beginning. Like let's say for example, there's a show that came out this year. I watch it and then I just follow along. Or I heard that hey, there's 4 or 5 seasons and it's been great. Okay, I'll binge watch it and then I'll try to continue onwards. That's my mindset. Walking Dead, it's so overwhelming. You have what is it like 10 seasons and then you have a bunch of spinoff shows. That's too overwhelming for me, man. Like I can't do that. Um, these splits. If you didn't like the first 3 seasons, I don't recommend continuing. It gets worse. There's good moments, but overall, wouldn't recommend it. Walking Dead is literally 11 seasons. Didn't watch the spinoffs. There's like 100 of them. Season 11 is worse than Game of Thrones season 8, in my opinion. You know me. I actually like season 8 of Game of Thrones, but I also have been on the record acknowledging that Game of Thrones season 8 is not even close to as great as the other 7 seasons. But I enjoy it. I know, Ace, you had another question. Let me go back to YouTube comments. I apologize. Sometimes I'm just not able to just keep up with all the YouTube comments. I think you had another question. Oh, you were asking about Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. So I know you said that you like Better Call Saul better than Breaking Bad, and I get that. I think for me, the reason why I like Breaking Bad more is because there just seems to be more rewatchability value. Like for example, right now, if you were to ask me what would I want to watch, like rewatch, I would instantly say Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul, I know that I would have to be in like a certain mindset, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I like Better Call Saul quite a bit, but I just think that Breaking Bad it hits all the check marks for me, like in terms of rewatchability value. Um, Ace Plus, I don't hate it. I think there's good moments. Most TV seasons are over disliked. Oh yeah, especially by the fan base. Me and Marche Bows. Breaking Bad also has a spinoff, but it's actually enjoyable and not a chore. No, I agree. 100% agree. Better Call Saul shouldn't work as well as it does, but because there's a director and creators that actually care, it's awesome. Ice Splits. It honestly changes on the day, in my opinion. Breaking Bad is 100% more rewatchable. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the same thing as opposed to when people ask, like, which is better, The Wire or The Sopranos. It just depends on my mood, honestly, that day in terms of like an answer. I think they're both great TV. Just depends on what I want to watch. Although I will say, Sopranos, it was easier to get into than The Wire. The Wire, season 1 of The Wire, like, I wasn't really into it until like towards the end, and then I think it was season 2. I think that was Dock Worker season. That one I was like, I don't know. And then season 3, I think was about the teachers, and that was when I was like all in. from then onwards. And Machibos, unlike Walking Dead. Yeah, I agree. Breaking Bad is better overall package. I heard The Wire is the most realistic TV show. Yeah, it does a really good job of like depicting. I feel like everyday life, and then the acting is extraordinary. Like the acting combined with the writing is just on another level. Now, again, with all that realism, I love a film that's realistic in terms of 2 hours, but when you have a TV show that is, I think it's what, 70 hours of realism, it's one of those things where I personally wasn't like binge watching. I was like watching a couple episodes like here and there. Really liked it, but again, it's been I think 6 years though, so I should rewatch it at some point. So I heard season 4 and 3 are next level. Yeah, actually, let me just again, it's been so long. Let me see which one season 4 is of The Wire. Because again, it's been years since I saw it. Really liked it though. I remember I was watching The Sopranos and The Wire at the same time, so it was like it's pretty cool. Um, I think actually, I think let me actually go back 1 second. Oh, actually, I think season 4 was the one that focuses on teachers. Yeah, my bad. So season 4 is probably my favorite then in that case. I heard the best way to watch The Wire is 1 to 2 episodes a day. Yeah, I would agree with that. Um, I feel like some shows are just like that. I kind of, in some ways, did that with Mad Men as well. Like, I really liked Mad Men, loved it actually, but it wasn't like something like Hannibal where I could binge watch like 5, 6 episodes because I was just like so into it. Which is funny though because like Hannibal's so violent, and then like The Wire has its violent moments, but it's hard to explain. It really is. He splits. Dexter's really easy to binge. Literally did all of season 4 in one sitting. Yeah, I remember. I think it was it the first shot? I think it might have been my first COVID shot that I had. I remember I went down the shore and I was having like some of the symptoms of when you had the first shot. And I remember because I just wasn't feeling well, I just was like in bed and I was just binge watching season 4 of Dexter. So I finished it in I think it was 2 days, which is unprecedented for me. Like usually a season of TV, it usually takes me a couple weeks. Justified was different. I wanted to take like a month, and honestly, Sons of Anarchy, I'm planning to do the same thing where it's like giving myself a month just to mull over it, unless it turns out it's like really rewatch. I mean, not rewatchable, but like bingeable. Then I'll change my tune. He Splits Getaway is one of my favorite episodes I've seen. Yeah, that's a great episode. It really is. I remember when I watched that too, not spoiling anything, but I remember I accidentally heard that something happened to Rita, but I remember at the end of the season 4 finale, I was like, well, I guess it didn't happen this. I was like, that's cool. And then the last scene happened. I was like, oh, wow. So I was still shocked, but again, IMDb trivia, man. Like I had a lot to learn a couple years ago. He Splits. Can't wait for you to watch Sons of Anarchy. Honestly, I'm planning to start it tonight. I right now I have on my schedule to watch one episode because I think the premiere is like an hour 15, so it's almost like the length of a movie. So I'm gonna try to start it tonight. Don't know if I'll be able to complete my goal, but my goal is to try to watch the whole first season by the end of this month, and then season 2 in June, season 3 in July, etc. We'll see how that goes. He Splits Trinity easily the best villain so far in the show. I don't think he'll be topped. Yeah, he won't be. It's good that you have that mindset that he won't be topped because Trinity Killer doesn't get topped. Like even in Dexter New Blood, nah, not even close. Matt and Mashi Bose, did you watch Louis or Said Pete? No, I didn't, but I did hear that I heard both shows were good though. Most of the shows that I watched on my TV show playlist, pretty much all those shows are ones that I've seen. There's very few shows where it's like, hey, I I've seen it, but I just didn't review it. Usually I'll review shows like on my channel. The exception is Yellowstone. That's just because Yellowstone, because I had to binge watch it in order to catch up, and because the new second half of the final season hasn't came out yet, I'm just waiting until like reviewing it. But I know Ace Blitz has heard me talk about. I'm just justify a Yellowstone. Not a fan. Ace Blitz Sons of Anarchy gets way better in the later seasons. Heads up. I wouldn't say season 1 to 3 are that strong. Same with season 5. There's good moments though. Season 7 to 4 are the two best though. Oh wow. So it almost sounds like Dexter in a way, because I know Dexter like season 2, 4, and 7 are like the ones where it's like, hey, this is like top tier TV. No, I'm excited to watch Sons of Anarchy. I've heard a lot of good things. I've also heard that they kill off a lot of characters, which I know we talked about briefly. Yeah, I know the Sympathizer. I'll be watching the I think it's episode 6 tonight. Dexter. No. Sorry, it's my dog. Oh, I don't even know if I told you, Ace Blitz. I literally have a dog and his name's Dexter, named after the show. And yes, I taught him the code. Right, Dexter? Yeah. Season 6 is great as well. Yeah, Sons of Anarchy finale is my second favorite episode ever. Everyone's waiting is still number 1 though. Yeah, that is great. Yeah, you did. My dog was literally also called Dexter because my mom watched it. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Honestly, I'm so glad that I watched the show when I did, because if I hadn't watched the show when I did, I don't think I would have named him that, because I wouldn't have seen the show. But oh no, I was just thinking about it. I was like, I feel like dogs a lot of times have like two sides to them, and I'm like, I mean, Dexter Morgan literally is just like that. So right now, I'm just trying to get him not to mess with the lighting. Dexter, go over there. No, over there. He was sleeping, but does he have a dark passenger as well? Yes, he does. When he was a puppy, because now he's almost 3 years old now. Just crazy to think. Um, yeah, like sometimes he'll be like wild, and then he's like really calm. He's usually calm with me. Then with my wife, he's like wild. But that's also because I'm like laid back and everything. But he'll usually like lie on top of me when I'm like watching TV, which is nice. But at the same time, it's like sometimes I just get sleepy because I'm like, holy cow, this is comfortable. But yeah, I forgot that you have a dog and it's also named Dexter because of the show. That's so cool. I can't wait to start Mr. Robot. Pretty sure that's going to be my next watch, considering it's pretty short as well. Dude, that's awesome. That Mr. Robot is such a, I'll just say it, I think it's such an underrated show. Like, I know when people say like underrated, it's like, oh, like it didn't get awards and everything. Like, my thing is Mr. Robot, I just feel like nobody really talks about it, like, at all. So I should say, I guess, underappreciated, because I know the first season got like a lot of acclaim, but then after that, season 2 just divided people, so they didn't stick with it. And season 3 and 4 are just incredible. Like, some of the best TV I've ever seen, easily. And the finale is just on another level. I feel like Hello Elliot's going to be one of my favorite episodes from what I've heard. One of the episodes is 9.9 on IMDb. There's a lot of episodes that have like that range of like 9.8, 9.9. And specifically speaking, a lot of episodes from season 3 and season 4. There's a lot of interesting filmmaking techniques that they use. Like, one episode is made to look like one giant long take. Another episode is treated as if it's like a silent film, like solely visual storytelling. It's really cool. Is Elliot your favorite TV character? Heard he's amazing. I would say he might be, because he takes you on like a roller coaster ride, and even though he has a lot of emotional baggage, you somehow are able to really get behind him and understand him, even though you don't necessarily always say, hey, I agree with what he's doing. And I think that that's the power of TV. Like, you really get with where he's coming from. Do you think Mr. Raw will ever be replaced as your number one show? Yeah, I think it could be, honestly, because going back to what we were talking about earlier, I mean, opinions are constantly changing. Like for the longest time, I had Breaking Bad as my number one show. Then I watched Game of Thrones, and it was like, oh, I don't see Game of Thrones topping it. And then I watched Mr. Robot, and the first time I watched Mr. Robot, I didn't love it. I liked season one, but I wasn't too big on season two and three. Then I rewatched all three seasons, and then season four, and I loved it. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I think at some point it will. But that's why I that's one thing that I don't know if a lot of other YouTube film critics like talk about, but one of the reasons why I like doing videos is so that way it's like a time capsule. Like, oh yeah, this was my thought on this film or TV show at this point in my life. Like if you go on my channel right now and you looked at my 2016 movie reviews for something like the movie The Neon Demon, my opinions change on that movie. Like I don't think it's a 3 out of 5 movie. Like I think it's close to a 4.5 out of 5 star movie. So things change. So I could definitely see Mr. Robot being replaced, even though I love that. Heard Mr. Robot tackles anxiety really well, like BoJack. Yeah, in a lot of ways, I do think that those two shows complement each other, and they do, in some ways, feel like therapy sessions almost. Specifically, BoJack Horseman, but you get that a lot with Mr. Robot too, because there is a therapist character, and both shows were inspired by The Sopranos. So just wanted to throw that out there because even though The Sopranos isn't in my top 10 TV shows as of right now, it is a show that I greatly respect and admire for paving the way for shows that I do love. Are you going to do Oliver Stone Films ranking? Yes. So actually, good question. That's what I was saying earlier in the video. Actually, you might not have actually been in just yet, but yes. So Oliver Stone, I have my ranking set for 1 second. Yes. So my Oliver Stone ranking video, it's set for October 12th, 2024. I have it. I have my direct. I have a lot of my videos set for 2 a.m. Eastern time because I know a lot of my viewers are international viewers. So I'm like, okay, it's a different time zone, so it'll probably be better for them. So I'm usually asleep by then. But yeah, I have. So next month, June, Tony Scott's films ranked list will come out. July, Rob Zombie films, and then Park Chan Wook's films. August is when that will come out. Catherine Bigelow will be September, and then October will be Oliver Stone. This one I'm excited for. November will be Sam Raimi, and then December David O. Russell, who yes I know is a hack, but he did make some good movies. And then Jonathan Glazer will be January of 2025. John Singleton for February of 2025. Raj Kumar Hirani for March 2025. Alex Garland for April 2025. Neil Blomkamp for May 2025. Luca Guadagnino for June of 2025. Wong Kar-wai for July of 2025. Todd Field for August of 2025, and then finally Mel Brooks for September 2025. And then I mentioned earlier Charlie Chaplin will be October of 2025. So if you guys want to see this journey that I do for each of these directors, you guys can follow me on Letterboxd because I do put down like, hey, I'm watching like this movie because I'm trying to do this director ranking list. So yeah, it's a lot. I know that was a lot to say, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Ace Blitz, heard Boardwalk Empire is very good. Do you think it's worth checking out? I do. The thing about Boardwalk Empire, though, is that I do think that the earlier seasons are stronger. Season 5 tries to do something ambitious, like almost like Godfather-esque, which I don't know if you've seen the first two Godfathers, but if you haven't, I'd highly recommend them. But Godfather Part 2 has it where it's a prequel and a sequel. And Boardwalk Empire Season 5 tries to do that, and it just doesn't really work in my eyes. Watched Salvador a few days ago and liked it a lot. Oh, yeah. So I did, yeah, I think it was like a year or so ago at this point that I watched Salvador. Yeah. Really good performance, lead performance. Glad that you liked it. I'll be curious to see your ranking when when my ranking comes out. Oliver Stone's a director that I greatly admire. He's very ambitious. He splits. Heard season 3 is the best. Seeing the first Godfather, my favorite movie. Actually, need to watch the other two. Well, there's not other two. There's only one more. Part two. Part two is incredible. It's a masterpiece. Um, I would. It's hard to say which is the best Godfather film, like one or two. I personally have one over two, but barely. Like one is in my top 25, and then part two is like in my top 40. And then yeah, season 3 of Boardwalk Empire, I love because Bobby Cannavale's in that. And it's funny because Bobby Cannavale is also in season 3 of Mr. Robot. And I just feel like his presence in both shows just give the show like such a big boost of energy that I really appreciate. It's so good. Boardwalk Empire season 4, though, it starts off slow, but I do think by the end of season 4, it was good. And yeah, I did review Boardwalk Empire. I didn't review it the first time I saw it because I forget what was happening. I might have been moving at that time, but I didn't review it the first time. So when I rewatched it the second time, that was when I was like, okay, let me rank it. I mean, not rank it. Let me review it. He splits. I know the guy who plays Omar is also in it. Yeah, he's really good in that. I mean, he was a great actor. It's a shame he died. He's really good, actually, come to think about it. He's in a lot of films too. Like he was in I know 12 Years a Slave. Very brief part, but he was good in that as well. Yep. Yeah, he passed away. Michael Kenneth Williams, I believe his name is. I think he passed away a couple of years ago. Let me actually check, just fact check. I'm always trying to fact check myself. 1 second. Yeah, he died September 6th of 2021. He was only 54. Yeah, it's a shame. He was such a good actor. And The Wire. What's also interesting is that Michael B. Jordan's in it. It was, I believe, his first role. But there's a lot of roles of actors where it's like, oh yeah, I know that actor, and it's a show again because there's so much emphasis on acting. You'll notice that. My friend just finished watching Hannibal, and now he has Hannibal as his favorite antagonist ever. He knows what's up then. Yeah, I would say Hannibal's my favorite antagonist. He's just there's so much layers to him, both in the TV show and the film Silence of the Lambs. Highly recommend both. Like it's funny. The last time I watched Hannibal, the last 3 years I've been watching it in October, and then the goal was to finish Hannibal by October 31st, and then watch Silence of the Lambs on Halloween. And I remember this past time I was just like, I love this show, but can I continue doing this each year? And I'm just like already in May, I'm like, yeah, I already want to rewatch Hannibal, and I already want to rewatch Silence of the Lambs. He splits. We'll probably do Hannibal after Mr. Robot. It's also pretty short. Yeah, Hannibal's only, I think it's 39 episodes. It's 13 episodes per season, but it's like 42 to 45-minute episodes. So it flies by. You can easily do like 4 or 5 episodes a day. I wouldn't be surprised if season 2 in particular, if you finish in a day. Would not surprise me. Season 3, on the other hand, probably a couple weeks. We'll see though. But yeah, Mr. Robot, I think is only 45. No, is it 45? Yeah, I think it's 45 because it was weird. Like the first season, and then I think it was season 3 were 10 episodes. And then season 2 was 12 episodes. And then I think the final season was 13 episodes, I want to say. I believe. I could be wrong. I know he told me he has the season 2 finale above the gateway. Says it's one of the best episodes he has seen. Yeah, I would say that it's better. It's not even just like entertainment wise, it's just from a filmmaking standpoint. I think it's much better. Especially there's a scene that takes place in the rain, and like the cinematography combined with like the score, the performances, the makeup. So good. It's so good. It's one of the best things you'll see on TV. At least that I have. Her Hannibal has some of the most depth and complexity in TV. Yes, he does. Because when you first start Hannibal, without spoiling anything, when you first start it, it's like, okay, like I know that he is pure evil because I've seen Silence of the Lambs. But over the course of the show, you genuinely care about him, even though some of the things he does, it's like, dude, but you still care about him and you understand, again, where he's coming from. I think that's, again, the power of great acting, great writing, great directing. Do you think it's a great ripoff? Oh, wait, it's a great off rip. When you say, do you think it's great off rip, what do you mean? Just so I know. Like, is it good off of the first episode? Yes. Although pay attention. I'm not saying this is like looking down. I'm saying this is just my experience. It's really good right away, but just know that it is the first season is very deceptive. Like you'll watch the first couple episodes and you're just like, okay, so it's a killer of the week type show. Got it. But it's not. What it's doing is it's bait and switch. It's saying, hey, here's the killer. And then in the background, you have stuff that's being set up that will then be paid off in the mid-season, the finale of season 1, and even stuff that's set up for season 2. It's actually insane. But it's like by the time you're halfway into season 1, and maybe even towards the end of season 1, you're like, oh my goodness, like I should have been more and more focused like on the stuff that was just like background like noise. Like it's amazing. It's really good. And I guess background noise isn't the right wording. I should say the background characters, the background plot points. That's stuff that I should have been more focused on, but instead I was focused on like the foreground, and it was like, oh, because the villain of the week is interesting, but there's also stuff that happens in episode 1 that set everything up for season 1 and 2. What would you rate season 3? Some people love it and some people hate it. So I think I have it. Let me actually check because I have my ratings on Notepad. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, so they're all pretty close actually. So season 1 I have is a 9.6 out of 10. Season 2 I have is a 9.8 out of 10. And then season 3 I have is a 9.3 out of 10. Season 3 is also something where I can see why some people might not like it, but I do think it's really good. It's a very strong season. And I think considering, I think it was like halfway into filming, they realized that they were going to cancel. It's pretty impressive that they were able to cook up a finale that worked pretty well. I know some people want a season 4, but honestly, I don't want to say like, yeah, I'm gung ho about it. I'm really not. Okay, they all sound pretty good then. Yeah, for me, but I would be lying if I said that that's the consensus. I know a lot of people that at the beginning of season 3 they bail, especially because without spoiling anything, it the beginning of season 3 does things where I can see some people saying it mutes the emotional impact of the season 2 finale. I can see some people saying that because the first time around I watched it, I had that same mindset. But now I watched and I'm like, I get it. Like I get it. Again, I'm trying to be vague here. I guess a good example. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I guess a good example would be there's only 2 people in this, like in the live stream right now. So I'm just going to say this right now in terms of spoilers. Spoilers for Game of Thrones as a whole. The equivalent of Hannibal season 2 finale going into season 3, beginning of that, is the equivalent of Game of Thrones season 5 going into season 6. You look at the season 5 finale and you have a death in Jon Snow. It's just a gut punch. It's so like emotionally resonant. And then season 6, it undoes that because he's then brought back to life. And some people I could see make the argument that, hey, it's one of those things where it's not as emotionally impressive, but it's like I still think it is, especially with what they do with it. And it's similar to Hannibal in my eyes. Yeah, my friend loves 1 and 2, and he did not like 3 of them. People don't like 5 and 6 personally. Disagree with that. Yeah, I love season 5 and 6. I think especially season 5. Like I like how dark it gets and how like the characters are really put through the grinder, man. Like you think it could get any worse, and then it's like you have season 5 happens, and you're like, oh wow, like Ramsey's in full effect. Like he is like one of the main characters pretty much, and it's like wow, I there's like no hope, and it then makes the Battle of the Bastards all the more like emotionally impressive because it's like, oh my goodness, there's hope now. Holy cow! Now, did we know at that time that there was going to be nothing but hope in season 7 and 8? No, but it's still something that was impressive. Splits. I love the Jon Snow death and the Hard Home episode. Yeah, both of those are great. I like the last couple episodes of season 5 are especially like so good. Pete 1980 hi. Hey Pete, how are you doing? Are you new to the channel or you've been a subscriber for a long time? Either way, glad to have you in the live stream. He splits. Battle of the Bastards is so hype. Yeah, actually, it's funny. I didn't like Battle. Well, not that I didn't like it, but I thought the episode was just good. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah, of course the good guys win." But then I watched the second time. I was like, "Why did I think it was just good? This is great." Could have just been the mindset. Pete 1980. Are you planning to make a list of top 10 sports films? Yes, actually, I have a list here of all the top 10 lists I'm planning to do. So top 10 Western films with Sergey of Skynet Gen, who has been on the channel. He's done a couple of videos with me in the past. Criterion Hall's John Carpenter films ranking. I'm also planning to do top 10 outer space films, top 10 films that should never be remade. That's a video that I'm very excited to do. It's a work in progress, though, because it's tough, man. It really is tough. Top 10 action films, top 10 neo noirs, top 10 noirs, top 10 favorite heist films, top 10 favorite sports films, as you mentioned, top 10 favorite romances, top 10 mind bender films, top 10 favorite musicals, top 10 most beautiful looking films. And then I'm also planning to do top 101 to top 250 films. So I did on my channel already, I did my, top 1 to 100 films. So now I'm like, all right, let's take it a step further. Let's then do 101 to 250. Because in the past, I did like a top 250 list. I actually think it was, I think almost a decade ago when I did that. So I'm like, okay, let me do this again and see how much it's changed. So, yeah, to answer your question, I am planning to do a top 10 sports films. The thing is, though, the reason why I haven't like gone through with it just yet is because there's still somebody I need to reach out to and possibly collaborate with, but we'll see. He splits. I think the Watcher on the Wall is the best battle in Game of Thrones, in my opinion, though. That is a great episode, and especially for a battle. I'm actually trying to think which is my favorite battle. It's so tough because even something like the battle in season 8, I'm a fan of that. Like I watched it on 4K, like physical media. Amazing. It was great. I felt like I was actually there. But if you watch that on streaming, yeah, it's not as good. But again, I'm a huge component of physical media. Yeah, all the battles are great in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think there's a single battle that I didn't like about Game of Thrones. I like the loot train. I guess it wouldn't really be considered. Actually, would it be considered? Yeah, I think it would be considered a battle. The loot train battle in season 7, I thought was pretty great. That was, and I was taken so off guard. Like I wasn't expecting it, especially in like episode 3. I was like, okay, all right, let's go. The Blackwater, yes, the Blackwater battle is really good too. It's cool too because the show, like, even though season 1 looks great, they didn't really have a huge budget in season 1. So I remember there was supposed to be a battle like that Tyrion was in season 1, but they were like, well, we don't have the money, so they just like had him where he was knocked out, and that was how they could get past like shooting a whole battle. So then it's just the aftermath. And then season 2, it was like, oh yeah, now we have enough money to actually shoot the battle. So it's cool. That's where the Hound starts to get a bunch of development. Yeah, the Hound's honestly a really really good character. I like him. Dexter, what are you doing? He's getting all bored. He's like, let me come on to the live stream. No, you can't come on the live stream. You gotta relax, buddy. You gotta relax. You just told everyone on YouTube how relaxed you are. Tyrion was amazing in season 4, especially the trial. Yes. Tyrion might be one of my favorite characters. I know some people said my biggest annoyance is that some people are like, oh, Tyrion all of a sudden became stupid in like the final seasons. And I'm like, not really. Like, I know people like to say, why would he tell people to go to the crypts in season 8? And it's like, where was he supposed to send all these people? Like, there wasn't anybody. Like, you put them in the middle of like all the houses. Like, no, you don't put them in the middle of the battle. Like, you put them in the only place that you can, which is underground. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just like, where else are you supposed to put them? If the White Walkers are literally coming from this direction and other directions, like you're surrounded, like there's nowhere to put them. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe it's just me overthinking it. But that was just like something. Like there's some things where I'm like, okay, I can accept people being annoyed with season 8 about. That's not one of them. Just like with Daenerys, like when people are like, oh, I can't believe like she burned King's Landing. Like I don't understand. It's like, I mean, did you watch the rest of the show? Like literally, they've been setting this up since season 1. The only difference is you were okay with her burning and crucifying people because it's like they were slave masters. It's just, trying to mess with people's morals. Which I appreciate because that's what Game of Thrones is. You have to play the Game of Thrones, and the Game of Thrones doesn't always match people's morals. That's why Ned lost. My personal opinion, though. Let's see. There was nowhere else for them to go. People just like to hate on things. I feel like Daenerys literally said she was going to burn people since the beginning. Yeah, and not only that, but Bran literally had premonitions about King's Landing. Like he literally has it where there's a dragon over King's Landing, and you see there's like already some destruction. You also have a scene where Daenerys literally sees the future, where there's what we think at the time is like snow, but we look at it now as like, oh, she's getting close to the throne. But then she wakes up before she can even touch the throne, which is what happens in season 8. So I don't know. It boggles my mind how much hate season 8 got, honestly. You need to watch House of the Dragon. I heard it's great. Oh, you haven't seen House of the Dragon? That's really good. It's not amazing like Game of Thrones, but it's still pretty good. I would definitely recommend it. It's one of those things where there's a couple of moments that stood out, but it doesn't have like I'm trying to find the right vernacular for describing this. It's like a really, really good version of Game of Thrones. Like it has some of the same ingredients of Game of Thrones, but it hasn't yet matched that same quality of Game of Thrones. But it's still really good. Did you watch The Boys season 4 trailer? No. So honestly, usually I try not to watch trailers. I try like something with like The Boys. I know I'm gonna watch it. Something like The Bear. I know I'm gonna watch it. So I'm like, I'm not gonna watch the trailer. So I just look at the poster. Oh, that's the date. Okay, I know week to week when to watch it. I'm excited though. Alex Lincoln, do you like Howard Hanks as a director? So Howard Hanks, I feel hit or miss about him. Like I haven't seen like a lot of his films. I've seen a lot of his like John Wayne films, and some of them I like more than others. Like Stagecoach is one that I want to rewatch because I haven't seen since I was like a kid, but I have fond memories of that movie in particular. Now Howard Hanks though is a director that I don't think I'll ever rank, not because I don't have respect for him as a director, but just because he's done so many films. It's like Alfred Hitchcock. It's like so overwhelming. He's looks great. Can't wait for Homelander. Heard The Bear is great. Yeah, The Bear is like it's like Uncut Gems, except Kitchen Edition. It also took elements from the film Boiling Point, which if people in the chat, if you guys haven't seen Boiling Point, would highly recommend that film. It's on Amazon Prime for free. It's a film that I think it's like 90 minutes long, and it was filmed right before COVID hit, and it's 90-minute long take. that takes place in the kitchen. So you get a huge idea of like the kitchen process, how intense everything is. So it's like a precursor to The Bear. It's really good. Hearing the word Hanks reminds me find a pretty funny. Tom Hanks' kid is in Dexter. Yeah, I like Colin Hanks. Colin Hanks is also in Fargo. He was in King Kong, the 2005 film. I like him a lot. I think he's the good Tom Hanks kid. We don't talk about Chet. He's pretty good so far. Yeah, wait until you see his character arc. There's some stuff that happens at the end, and it's like, oh wow, okay, that makes more sense now. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on season 7. Honestly, season 8 though, there's gonna be a lot to talk about because I see all the different sides of Dexter, like season 8. Like I understand why it's hated, but I don't necessarily fully agree. You think season 3 is the worst Dexter season? Um, that's tough. I think for me it was like season 3, 6, and 8 were like the three seasons where I was like there were some episodes I just wasn't that big of a fan of. Let me actually check my ratings just as like a refresher because it's been 3 years. So Dexter season 3 I gave a 7.5 out of 10, but keep in mind that it's based on like on IMDb I like rate each episode and then I basically whatever gets taken off, I then do like a math algorithm. So it's 7.5 out of 10, but I wasn't as big of a fan of that season. Like I thought it was just solid, it's whatever. And then season 6 I gave a 7.6 out of 10, and then season 8 I gave a 7.3 out of 10. So I would say season 8 is like arguably the low point, but that's because there's just some episodes where it's just they're screwing around. Um, and that includes like the last couple episodes, except the finale of Dexter. I do think that it's hit or miss, but I do think that there are more hits than misses. Splits I agree with 7.5. What would you rate New Blood? Um Man, it's tough because I think I gave it actually let me go back. I think I gave it an 8.6 out of 10, but I don't know if it's ever happened to you before. Yeah, 8.6 out of 10. I don't know if it's ever happened to you before where you watch something, you rate it, and then you let it marinate, like it sinks in, and then over the course of time, you're like, yeah, I don't like that as much. That's kind of how I am with Dexter New Blood. In the moment, I liked watching it week to week. I thought it was really cool. I thought it did a really good job building up. And then the finale happened of New Blood, and I was like, no, no, not really a fan. No, I don't. But that's also my personal taste. I think that there was so much potential. Like the episode before the finale of Dexter New Blood was so good. It was like, okay, this makes it so that way I don't know what's going to happen in the finale, and then the finale happens, and you're like, so it's kind of what I expected the show to be. Okay, whatever. Heard it's like a completely different show. Yeah, I've done that before. It's not that it's necessarily a completely different show. It's that it's one of those things where it takes the ingredients of Dexter and then it puts it in a new setting. That aspect I liked. Like again, not spoil, definitely not spoiling anything. Actually, I'm not going to talk about Dexter New Blood because anything that I talk about is kind of a spoiler of the last couple seasons. So we'll sidebar that. We'll talk about Dexter New Blood some other time. My dog Dexter keeps looking at me because he keeps hearing his name. Pete 1980. Have you ever watched any Lewis Malley films? I watched Elevators to the Gallows last night. I thought it was really amazing. So I is that the director? 1 second. I think I might have. Let me check though. Sorry, just go to Letterboxd. Once again, Letterboxd. Highly recommend everyone get Letterboxd. It's amazing. Let me check if I've seen that director's work. I want to say no, but Elevators to the Gallows, I will say that um, one of my really good friends, he actually saw that film and he said that it was like excellent. So I have that on my watch list. Same with My Dinner with Andre. Oh, I've seen one of his films. I saw Atlantic City because I was trying to watch I was watching all the films from the 1980s. I got nominated for Best Picture, as well as I have like a book, The Greatest Movies Ever. It's like 101 movies. So that was that film, Atlantic City, was a part of that book, and then also was nominated for Best Picture. So that's why I watched that. I liked it. I liked Atlantic City, and that's also why I want to check out more of his work. Ellery Gallagher was good, and then My Dinner with Andre I heard is incredible as well. So I'll try to check out those works soon, especially since you said that was very good. Um, He Splits. I really enjoy season 5, though. I'll definitely have Dexter done before June. Oh, right on. Oh, so yeah, so you'll have like 2 weeks. That's impressive. Pete 1980, Atlantic City with Burt Lancaster is also very good. Watched it today. Oh, great. Oh, so you're doing like a binge watch of his movies. Yeah, I thought that was nice. That was a nice character study. I was thoroughly impressed by that movie, I would say. I watched it around this time last year. He Splits. My ranking this season so far would be 4, 2, 1, 5, 6, 3. I haven't finished 6 already, preferred over 3 though. Yeah, careful though. I mean, season 6 does do some things that I can see ruffling some people's feathers, especially I think it's the finale. Let me actually go on IMDb to read because season 6. There's things about Dexter that I absolutely love, and then there's things in season 6 where I'm like, no, not like a no in terms of like plotting necessarily, just like character development wise. I'm just like, actually no. Episodes 9 to 12 of season 6 I actually love. Check that. But it does kind of get a little silly. I will say that as a heads up. But I was able to go on its wavelength. Yeah, Nebraska, that episode I really didn't like. He Splits. I need to watch American Beauty. Put that at number 1. It's made by the same guy who did 6 Feet Under. Yes. American Beauty is a great, great film. It's outstanding. I think it's on Paramount Plus. I own that on Blu-ray. That's a great Blu-ray. You still need to also get Letterboxd. Ace Splits. Like can't articulate. He has Letterboxd. He knows what's up. You still watching The Sympathizer? I like it so far. Yes. The Sympathizer I've been watching week to week. I really, really like it. I will say one thing about it that I'm not a fan of is that like Park Chan-wook, I really wish that he just said screw it and directed all 7 episodes because I don't know. After episode 3, I'm still liking it, but it's like it doesn't have all the cool Park Chan-wook stylistic choices that he makes. Like it's still really good, episode 4 and 5, but I'm like, man, Park Chan-wook just direct all of them. But who knows? Maybe if there's a season 2, maybe he'll direct it. Splits. I know they're adding TV shows to Letterboxd. Can't wait for that. I need to get one. Yes, you definitely do. It's a great app, man. You got films, some TV shows, like The Sympathizer, for example. Pretty sure that's actually on Letterboxd. Shogun, that's on Letterboxd. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, I believe, was on there. Not that that's a good show, but that was on there. So they have a lot of really good stuff. And it's cool, too, because you can meet, like, other people and get a wide variety of opinions. Like, that's one thing I try to do. I try to follow people that have, like, different opinions and everything because it really, I don't know, it gives you a different viewpoint. It's like, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Like, I think actually recently, I'm trying to think, I think Can't Articulate, I think he saw something recently where it was like, I think we had different views on things. Let me check. Well, actually, I know today I watched Tokyo Godfather and I gave it like a solid rating and I'm like, I'm going to get some hate for that because I know a lot of people love that film. He Splits. Yeah, they only do miniseries apparently. They're adding everything though. Yeah, that's going to be a game changer when they do that. I feel like there's going to be even more people coming to Letterboxd. Can't Articulate. Letterboxd is probably my favorite social media now. LOL. I have a lot more movies now that I know how to use the app. Yes, honestly, it's the same as me. Like I have other social media apps, but my friends know if they want to get a hold of me, like I'm going to be on Letterboxd. I use Letterboxd every day. Like in terms of other apps, I don't really post that much. I post a lot on Letterboxd though, because it's like if I watch 2 movies a day or 3 movies a day or one, I'm gonna log it. And I try to usually write a review, like whether it's something a brief snippet or more, just so that way it's like I can look back and say, hey, this was my thoughts. Hey Splits, what is the best TV performance in your opinion? Ooh, that's tough. I wanna almost say, I know it's kind of a cliche to say, but I almost want to say Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. I almost want to say that because I feel like before I watched Breaking Bad, I didn't really have an opinion on Bryan Cranston. I didn't really know who he was. So to see someone go from like this seemingly nice, down to earth kind of guy to then someone where it's like, wow, like you are like just insane. Like it was very impressive, and I liked how we were able to see that over the course of the 5 seasons. So I might have to say that. Pete 1980. Have you watched all Academy Award nominated films from the 1980s? Best Picture. Best Picture nominees from the 1980s. I've seen every single one. I actually have filmed, edited, and I actually have dates picked out for when I'm going to be uploading the ranking for the Best Picture nominees for those years, except for two, 86 and 89. But that's because for those 2 years, I'm working with someone else, like a fellow YouTuber. So because of that, I haven't filmed those 2 videos yet. Right now, I'm working my way through the 1970s. I have 4 1970s Best Picture nominees to watch, and then one to rewatch. The rewatch would be Fiddler on the Roof, and that's only because I haven't seen Fiddler on the Roof since I was like 9, so a long, long time ago. Can't articulate. Best TV performance is obviously objective. Either Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead or Franklin Saint from Snowfall. I need to watch Snowfall. I heard that was really good though. He splits. I would also say Bryan Cranston. So far, I heard John Hamm is amazing in Mad Men though. Also love the guy who plays Nate in 6 Feet Under. Both are great choices too. I think that John Hamm in Mad Men is great as well. I think his performance, it's a different kind of performance. Again, without spoiling anything, it's not really necessarily a transformation performance. It's more of like a breakdown performance, almost like BoJack Horseman, which Mad Men inspired. It's breaking the character down and just like showing everything that he's gone through. This is why he is the way that he is. Can he change? Will he change? It's stuff like that. Heard Rami Malek is brilliant as well. Yeah, Rami Malek is great. Um, I mentioned his performance earlier, but I don't necessarily know if it's the best I've ever seen. It's great though. It's definitely amazing. It's, it's just it's so tough. That's why I haven't made a list of like top 10 like best TV performances, like best actors in a leading role, because it's so difficult. Especially like the more TV you watch, the more it's like, oh, this is even harder to pick. Are all of the Mr. Robot characters strong? Yes. Mr. Robot is great in that it has characters like strong female characters, strong male characters. It does such a great job of balancing them out. And then the other thing, the extra layer, is that no character is safe. It is. I did like a list actually. I don't know if I still have it, but I had a curiosity. Like I wrote down all the main characters, and then I wanted to see like how many characters like survived, and there's not many. And you care about every single character about that show, and so it's like when someone gets off, it's like, oh wow, that was sad. It's really good though, really really good. Pete 1980. Which movie do you think is the worst nominee from the 1980s? Oh gosh. Oh, that's tough. Trying to think right off the bat. I want to say almost like Out of Africa. Like I want to say that because I feel like that movie should not have won as many Oscars as it did. Like, objectively speaking, it shouldn't have, especially over something like The Color Purple or Witness. Yeah, it's outlandish. But there were some 1980s Best Picture nominees where I was like, I couldn't believe that it was nominated. Like, there were some other ones. Sorry, let me go on Letterboxd real quick because I have like those lists like private. Oh, actually, there's one actually that was worse than Out of Africa, and it actually came out the same year. It's called Prizzi's Honor. I was not a fan of that movie. I am a huge fan of John Huston, huge fan of Jack Nicholson. Did not like that movie. Yeah, I forgot about that movie. That movie was not good. I also think Children of a Lesser God, that was kind of a misfire. And then The Accidental Tourist, I wasn't a fan of that either. But don't want to spoil any of the list. But there is a lot of times where I'll watch a movie and I'll 100% understand why I got nominated for Best Picture, even if it wasn't necessarily one that I would nominate that year. But those movies I just mentioned, those are ones where I was like, no, I don't really understand it. I really don't. Other than maybe there was a huge box office draw. Ace Blood, third season 4 of Mr. Robot is really intense. I know we brought it up, but of every show I've never seen a show kill as many characters as Sons of Anarchy. And you love all of them as well. Oh, that has me excited then. I've heard that before too. I feel like shows that do that, it puts a lot of trust in the writing because there's so much that goes into that. Where it's like other shows, it's like, we'll maybe kill off one character. And then, by the way, we'll bring them back 2 seasons later. I don't know, like something like Walking Dead. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't like Rick die, but then he got brought back to life or something like that? I don't watch the show. One of the few AMC shows where I was just not vibing with it. There's a really good side character called Juice. He's pretty much the Jesse and Nacho of the series. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I think Ron Perlman's in it. I don't really know too many actors that are in it. I know you mentioned Walter Goggins, which has me excited. He doesn't start getting a character though until later on. That's fair. Yeah, I a show that's like 7 seasons long. I figured that it would take a while. Pete 1980 Working Girl is my pick for worst nominee from 1980s. Oh wow, really? If you don't mind me asking, why is that? I actually enjoyed that movie. Like, I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I gave it like a 3.25 out of 5. I thought it was quite enjoyable. Can't articulate. The Walking Dead comics are better. I figured that would be the case. Just I don't know. The Walking Dead, a show that lasts that long. I get it that there's a lot of fans, but I like the shows where it's like, hey, we already have something in mind. It's going to last 4 or 5 seasons, maybe 6, 7. You have somewhat of a roadmap, and then you stick to it. Versus something like Walking Dead, they probably were like, all right, season 1, maybe it will be a hit. If it's a hit, we'll play it by ear each season. Cool. And then it just turned out that people actually tuned in every season, and so it's like, well, we're just going to keep doing it. Oh, well, we need to end it. Oh, this season didn't have as many views. Okay, we'll end it here, and then we'll have like all these spin-off shows. It's like, really? Just frustrating. What's Ron Perlman is fantastic as Clay. People say he's one of the best antagonists in TV and has a brilliant dynamic with Jax, which is the main character played by Charlie Hunnam. Another incredible performance, very underrated. I like both actors. I think Charlie Hunnam, he gets a lot of flack. Like I remember when Crimson Peak came out, and that was like the first time I heard about him. And I remember people were like, "Oh, I wasn't a fan of his performance." And I'm like, I don't have any issues with his performance in that film, but I haven't really seen him in that much, so I'm excited. Pete 1980 Accidental Tourist is the most underrated from 1980s, in my opinion. Oh wow, that's fair. I mean, there's like I know that when I post that video, I know there's going to be a lot of people that probably won't agree with where I place Accidental Tourist. But that was just a movie where it was like it wasn't that long, but it felt so long for me to get through. and I'm saying that such a huge fan of William Hurt. Like, it was so cool seeing William Hurt in like all these movies that were nominated for Best Picture in the 1980s. Like, he really worked a lot in the 1980s, and like with a lot of quality stuff too. Ace Bloods, people started respecting him and Sons of Anarchy. The last 3 episodes are some of the most intense TV. I'm excited. Can't articulate. Supernatural had 15 seasons. It did not need 15. It should have ended around season 8. So I'm saying, like, I understand that, like, if there's a lot of good numbers, that's what's going to have it where people then, because they keep tuning in, people are then going to continue making it. I get that. It's the same with films. Like, there should not be, how many Fast and Furiouses are there? 11? There should be that many. Fast and Furious should have ended at 5. But there were 6 more. Why? Because people like myself were an idiot and kept watching them in theaters. So it's like, I don't know. I guess that's my thing. And for the record, I'm not a fan of Fast and Furious, but I feel like with what Ace Blitz and I were talking about earlier, that's how I am with movies, though, where it's like I think Fast and Furious should have ended at Fast 5, but I keep watching because I'm like, at this point, why would I stop? Like, I'm kind of curious, like, where are they going to go next? Like, are they going to go underwater? Are they going to go in the depths of the ocean? Like, what's going to happen next? Are you going to start interacting with aliens? Is it going to be like Fast and Alien? Like, what is this? Can't articulate. Sons of Anarchy was great. I started watching it when it was airing. Its 6th season. Can't believe it's been 10 years already. Yeah, man, a lot of great shows like turned 10 this year. Like, I feel so old because what got me into TV shows was Fargo season 1, and that was 10 years ago. Like, that was insane. Like, I was just like, holy cow! Like, TV can be this great. Ace Bloods, one of the scenes Charlie did in this show was so good. The cameraman forgot to start something, they had to do a retake. Oh wow. Yeah, I heard there's a lot of really good directors too that work on Sons of Anarchy. Let me actually check, because I said Sons of Anarchy, the first episode is an hour and 15. So let me actually check, because if it's like not as long, maybe I'll try to watch 2 episodes of it tonight, because I do want to try to start it tonight, because I finished Justified, what was it, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, okay, now I'm gonna right away start Sons of Anarchy, and I didn't. Oh, actually, the pilot's only 56 minutes, and then episode 2 is 46. Okay, you know what? Maybe I will watch. Maybe I will watch 2 episodes tonight. It's interesting because I'm looking at the ratings on IMDb just to get an idea on what audiences think of Sons of Anarchy, and it's interesting seeing that like season 1, the ratings were like, not bad, and then it's like season 2 onwards, it's like, oh wow, these ratings are like really good. Like, I'm looking at season 7 now, I'm like, wow, like the last several episodes are really, really highly rated. It's 7 seasons, 92 episodes. Yeah, so this will definitely be my summer show. Just like Dexter was my summer show 3 years ago, and I think, what was it? What was the year before? I think the year 2020. I think my summer show was 6 Feet Under. 2021, I want to say, was Dexter, and then 2022, what was my summer show? It's gonna bug me. Let me look this up, guys. I'm getting old. That's what I've been trying to do. I try to have a goal where it's like each summer I have a show that I watch that's many seasons, and I'm like, okay. Oh, you know what? I think 2022, I want to say, was what's that called? The Nick, I believe it was. Or no, that was 2023. And the 2022 was, I think it was Nathan for You, actually. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this year will be even more ambitious then. Pete 1980, I'm with you on Prince's Honor. Didn't like it at all. Yeah, right. It's so odd too because that's a film. That's a film that sounds like something I would like, but I didn't like it. Ace Plus, the pilot isn't insane. Pretty generic heads up. It got way better in season 2. Oh, okay. I appreciate you letting me know that. Just that way I have like an idea. Can articulate. Fargo season 1 is great, and it's also watched that when it aired. The Lost, Prison Break, and Supernatural is what got me started in TV. That's fair. Honestly, those three shows I never bothered with. Not because I don't think that I would like them, but I just look at the seasons and how many episodes are in each, and I'm just like, nah. Again, I am sure they're really good, especially like of those three. I think Prison Break. I've heard season one's amazing, from what I understand, but all three I've heard really good things about. Splits. I finished Sons of Anarchy in a month. It's one of the shows that got me really into TV after I did Game of Thrones and then found your channel. Oh wow. Also Breaking Bad pretty much started everything. I did BoJack Horseman too, which was great. That's cool, honestly. Yeah, Game of Thrones, I think I'm sure for a lot of people changed the game. I know Breaking Bad, I hear that a lot too. And I would say that too, if not for the fact that I watched Fargo first. Like I watched Fargo, I think it aired at the beginning of 2014. And then Breaking Bad, I was late to. I watched at the beginning of 2015. And it was like, holy cow. Can't articulate. Supernatural has like 300 plus episodes. Yeah, see that right there. No, I can't do that. Like I like looking at the episode and seeing, oh wow, it's 10 to 12 per season, 5-6 seasons. Yeah, I can do that. 7 to 8 is when I'm kind of it's pushing it. Like Game of Thrones was an exception because I started watching it when season 5 ended. So season 6, 7, 8 was like, okay, no problem. But like something like Outlander, I watched Outlander. Like I caught it up, I think at season 2, and I was watching it season by season. But I think I lost track the last season or two, and I saw that there's gonna be 8 seasons, and I'm like, oh wow. So now I'm like overwhelmed, and that's a show I loved. Ace Bloods before Breaking Bad, I had no interest. Yeah, I feel like I grew up watching a lot of old shows, like pre-90s. Like I watched like the Andy Griffith Show, Gomer Pyle, like a lot of those shows where it's like it's the plot of the week. What's the situation? What's going on? And how are the characters reacting to it? And then it's like the next week, none of that mattered with what happened in the previous week. So I was used to that. I wasn't used to that constant buildup of like something like Breaking Bad or Fargo. And that's something I like. And I know that about myself. Can't articulate. Are you all ready for Furioso? Yes. I am super, super stoked for Furioso. It's funny. The first time I saw the trailer, which, yes, I know I said earlier that I don't really watch trailers. Furiosa was different. I was genuinely curious if they were going to keep the same look of the one before Mad Max Fury Road. And I wasn't a big fan of the trailer first time. It wasn't until I saw Dune Part 2 and I saw the trailer like on the big screen. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Wow. I'm really, really stoked. But yeah, that was in my top 10 most anticipated films list. I'm very, very excited. But I'm going to have to wait for it, which is a shame. I think if a show goes over 7, it doesn't work. Besides Game of Thrones, I agree. Walking Dead Season 9 isn't that bad either. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you put yourself in a box like a TV show. It's kind of hard to think outside the box because if you do, you're going to lose even more fans. Like for example, if trying to think of an example, I don't want to use Game of Thrones because I like all 8 seasons. Walking Dead. Let's say there was an episode. I mean, not an episode, a season where it's like, you know what? Instead of just walking around and like going into like a village, and then it turns out the village is bad, and then they have to go to another village. Instead of that, it's like, oh wow, there's a cure. Wow, holy cow! Like, and then it's like, okay, there's a cure now, so you need to go to the destination to then get that cure, and then it's like you then see the aftermath of how then humans are then trying to survive after that. How it's like, okay, there's not many humans left now, but there's no zombies. So now what do we do? How do we live our lives now that we don't have to constantly be like on our guard? That's something I think would be interesting. You're not going to see that though, because people want to see the blood. People want to see the walking around. People want to see the conflicts of the different villages. But you can't do that because you can't break the mold too much of something. And in my eyes, Dexter season 8 did that. It broke the mold a little bit, and people weren't fans of that. I liked it. I thought that it worked. He splits. I think 7 is the perfect amount. The Walking Dead is the most inconsistent show I've ever watched. Yeah, I can tell because I always hear different thoughts. Like I hear some people say, "Oh, it's season 5 is when it starts getting like pretty repetitive," and then some people are like, "No, no, no, it's good until like season 8, season 9," and some people are like, "Yeah, no, 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 it was just good all the way through," and I'm just like, "Oh man!" Like, and meanwhile, I'm sitting here and I'm like, "Dude, season 2 was inconsistent." Like I was just like, I just couldn't get on board. And that's the thing also, like if I want to watch a show that's about like if I actually no, I shouldn't say a show. If I want to watch something about someone that is in the hospital and then wakes up and it turns out there's a zombie virus, I'll just watch 28 Days Later. It's under 2 hours and it's great. Can't articulate. I'm just waiting for House of the Dragon season 2. The first season was great. Yeah, man, I'm so excited. June's gonna be such a great month for TV shows. That's why I'm like, I need to start Sons of Anarchy this month because I know that if I don't start it this month, I'm not going to start it next month, and then I'm going to be behind. Because next month, I know that it's going to be so overwhelming. House of the Dragon, The Boys, The Bear. I think there's a fourth. I think there's a fourth series too that I'm missing. Whatever. Those 3 series though alone, like that's a lot. That's something where 2 of them are week to week, and then one of them is we're dropping 10 episodes, The Bear, and then you have to watch all of them. I wish I only watched the first 3 seasons. After you do Sons of Anarchy, you should eventually do the Shield. I need to do it as well. It's the same writer. Oh, is it really? Maybe I will because not that I'm trying to get ahead of myself, but I was thinking after Sons of Anarchy, I was thinking of either doing Homelands or the Shield is on my list too. I was thinking my least favorite nominee for 1980s is The Dresser. Not a bad film. My pick for the most underrated is Kiss the Spider Woman. Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, The Dresser I didn't like either. The Dresser was like honestly really, really, really like that was a slog to get through. Um Kiss of the Spider Woman, yeah, not many people talk about, and honestly, that movie's hard to find. Like, shout out to my local library for actually having the DVD so I could borrow it, but like that is a hard movie to find, and it should not be a hard movie to find because it's quite good. And I really, really like how it tells its story. I think that part in particular is really fascinating. Um, can't articulate a coil. It's a Star Wars show in June. I'm not gonna be watching that. I'm kind of honestly in terms of Star Wars shows. I bailed. I washed my hands. I'm like, I'm out. After season 3 of The Mandalorian, I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. Except for Andor. I will give Andor season 2 a chance because I thought season 1 was pretty good. He splits. Apparently, the Shield is better. Family Meeting is a 9.9 on IMDb, I think. People say Walter Goggins' best role. Oh, wow. Yeah, see, I think there was something that turned me off on that show. I think it might have been the episode amount, but maybe I'll look past that. Yeah, 89 episodes, 7 seasons. So I think it's okay, it's 13 episodes a piece, but it's like 45-minute episodes. So that's not bad. Yeah, maybe I'll watch that next. It looks like it's also on Hulu. I think it's an FX show. Yeah, it's an FX show. Drama series Falls Alive, in case of dirty cop. Vic Mackey on the corrupt LAPD unit under his command. Yeah, honestly, I would watch that. I think corruption in general is something that's really fascinating in terms of it being depicted on films and TV shows. Uh, Alec Lincoln, Coal Miner's Daughter is also very good. I thought that one was okay. I really liked the acting by Sissy Spacek and Tommy Lee Jones, but I felt kind of neutral on that. Like I see why it got nominated, but I thought it was just okay. But I get why you really liked it. I 100% get that. Splits. People say season 5 is the most consistent TV season. Oh wow. Alec Lincoln from 1970s, my least favorite nominee is Airport. Oh my goodness, dude! I'm glad I'm not the only one. I watched that like what was it, a week ago? Holy cow, that was embarrassing. Like that was real. Like it was like a soap opera. It was a soap opera. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. People watch soap operas. I'm saying that this is what people thought was the best of 1970. It was ridiculous. Ugh. The fact that it actually got a win, I think it was for Best Supporting Actress. I was like, really? Oh, I mean, I guess I'll spoil it. That year, my favorite film was not Patton. It was actually Five Easy Pieces. That was really good. That stuck with me. I watched it a week or so ago, and I'm still thinking about it. It's so good. I think I'm going to pick up the Criterion. Can't articulate, chat. How about top 10 decades of film video? I don't know if you made a video on that. Yes. So actually, I did a top 50. I did a top 50 of 2010 to 2019, and then that was those videos I looked at as a success. So then I did 2000, 2009, and I think I made a comment like I was like, hey, if this gets like 10 likes in terms of like my comment, then I'll do 1990 to 1999. Didn't get enough likes, so I just stuck with those two. So yeah, I have 2000 to 2009, and then 2010 to 2019, and then once 2029 comes around, I'll then do 2020 to 2029, which will be fun. Alex and Immigrants is my pick for the most underrated from 1970s. I don't think I was nominated for Best Picture, but you're talking about just in general. Let me look that up. I don't think I've heard of that one, or maybe I have. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's a TV movie. That's why I haven't heard of it. Yeah. Okay. It sounds interesting. Explains Walter Goggins actually plays a transgender character in Sons of Anarchy. Kills it. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. I'm curious if we'll be able to pull that off. I was thinking my favorite film from 1970 is Ryan's Daughter, but Five Easy Pieces is also fantastic. Haven't seen Ryan's Daughter, but Five Easy Pieces was such a deceptive film. Like I really liked it. And by deceptive, I mean that the first half I was like, okay, I think I know where this is going, and I guess it's solid. But then the third act really brought everything together and like recontextualized everything, and I was like, wow, that was like sad, but like in a great way. And that last shot, easily one of my favorite last shots of the 1970s. That was so good. Ace What says he has his best acting moment in his career in it. Oh wow. It's honestly kind of funny that Walter Goggins is an actor that has been working for such a long time, but I didn't know who he was until the Hateful Eight. And now I'm like backlogging like a lot of his stuff, and I'm like, wow, he's consistently been great. Like no wonder Tarantino hired him. Can't articulate. Challengers clearly and objectively a top 10 movie this decade so far. Yeah, I had a friendly debate with one of my friends because he saw Dune Part 2 with me, and he hasn't seen Challengers yet, and he was like, what's your favorite movie of the year? And I was like, Challengers. He's like, you think it's better than Dune Part 2? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I love Dune Part 2. I do. But Challengers is next level. Like, that's something that's so great of a film that, like, my wife and I, we literally have been talking about for months playing tennis. We watch Challengers and we're like, all right, we're buying tennis rackets, we're buying tennis balls, and now we play every week. Like, it's a film that is so energetic and like entertaining and well put together that it's like I love it. I saw it twice in theaters. I'm already itching to pick up the Blu-ray, which by the way should get a 4K release. Although the Blu-ray's probably gonna look great. H Plus, haven't seen Fallout. Heard he was in that. Yeah, I'm thinking about starting that show because my wife and I have been talking about starting that show. Because we both like Walter Goggins. And on top of that, it's post-apocalyptic. It's Jonathan Nolan, who is the co-creator of the show Westworld, which I was a huge fan of. So a lot of like check marks as to why I would want to watch it. Don't know if you know this. Michael C. Hall in season 5 Dexter had cancer, and you can actually tell he's wearing a wig if you pay really close attention. So I knew that he had cancer, but I didn't know it was season 5. For some reason, I thought it was season 4. I think it's maybe, you know what? Maybe I think you're right that it was season 5 when he had it, because I think that because of the way that the Emmys work, it's usually the next year when they have the ceremony. And I think that when he accepted the award for his Emmy, I think that he was like balding, but I didn't pick up on it. But to be fair, I was binge watching Dexter, and I was also in some cases watching it like on my phone. So I didn't notice it, but I'm sure if I watched it, I have a 75-inch TV now. I'm sure if I watched it on 75-inch TV, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a bald cap. Jonathan got killed in this Trinity, literally. Yeah, he did. It's funny too because he's in a film called Blowout with John Travolta, and it's a similar role. And so it's kind of funny to see that like almost 30 years prior to him playing Trinity, like he was in a role that was similar. He's a really good actor. I really like him. It's funny too because my first time that I ever noticed him was in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and that's a completely different role than him is in Trinity. I look at him differently now after watching season 4. Yeah, it's understandable. How about that twist though? Like I love the fact that he's called the Trinity Killer, and it's like he's not like he wasn't one to say like, "Hey, I'm the Trinity Killer." Like the newspapers were the ones that gave him that name, so it's like we kind of accept that, and it's like we then realize later on it's like he doesn't kill in 3, he kills in 4. That was amazing. I loved that. P1980s. My pick for the worst comedy from 70s is Norma Ray and Love Story. Oh, that's tough. So P1980. I don't know if you follow me on Letterboxd, but I reviewed both films, and Norma Ray is a film that similar to 1 second. Let me pull up my phone so that way I don't butcher the title. What did I say? One for the heart? No, not one for the heart. 1 second. Let me pull this up so that way I can articulate my thoughts. Okay, so Norma Ray is the director who did Norma Ray is called Robert Benton, and he did Places in the Heart and Norma Ray. My thoughts for both films are similar in that it's well put together. I like the fact that it focuses on people that we usually don't get to see in films and TV shows, but the execution, although it's cool to see a slice of life approach, just wasn't that interesting. It wasn't engaging, which is a shame. So I do share a little bit with your thoughts on Norma Ray. I thought it was just okay. And then Love Story is something that it's a tearjerker that isn't fully earned. I wanted to like that one. I really did because I do like the acting, but it kind of has almost like a TV movie quality to it. Not that that's bad. Again, it's just I don't know. I would have nominated it for Best Picture, but I think when it came out, it was like a huge box office success. So I think back in the day, there was like a huge kind of combination of like box office with critical success. Now it's not as much. Like now there's a lot of like indie films, like even more so that get nominated, which is cool. But yeah, apparently his wife watched season 4 with him and she was scared of him. All the twists in season 4 were fantastic. Yeah, I honestly I don't blame his wife. I feel the same way. Absolutely adored season 4. Can't get over how good of a season of TV that was. Who knew a show about a serial killer could be so good? And just wait until you see Hannibal. But I do agree. P1980, my favorite winner from 70s is The Deer Hunter. Oh, dude, The Deer Hunter. Man, that's a film that the first time I saw it, really liked it, really appreciated it. Rewatched it about a year or so ago, and I didn't like it as much. It's one of those films though that I greatly respect. Like I love the fact that it's broken into the 3-act structure and it's broken into 3 different like timelines where it's like you have the before they go to war, the during war, and the after war. I think that structure is brilliant, and it's so well done. I just think some scenes go on a little bit too long. Like I like to look at The Deer Hunter and Godfather as 2 different ways on how to go about a wedding. One feels like really organic, and the other feels like a little too long. But I respect that because The Deer Hunter, I do like some of that. I like it from a filmmaking standpoint. Ace Splits, I was literally like you. I was hesitant on watching it before seeing Miss David in 6 Feet Under. Yeah, once you watch 6 Feet Under, that's what That's what was like. Okay, I'm gonna give this show a chance. Um, can't articulate. Deer Hunter changes a man after viewing. Yes, it does. That Russian roulette scene, so good, so intense. He splits. I always forget he was David. It's literally like he's a different person than Dexter. Yeah, he's a great actor. Honestly, what I also like about him is that he can be in like something like Dexter. He can be in something like 6 Feet Under, and then he can be in something like Game Night. Like he has a lot of range as an actor for sure. Yeah, Deer Hunter. It's funny right now on Facebook Marketplace. I have the Deer Hunter like up for sale, but part of me wants to not have it on sale anymore and just actually keep it, and then just like maybe give it a third viewing. Might do that. Pete 1980, if I'm not mistaken, Norma Ray was directed by Martin Ritt, not Robert Ben. Uh-oh, let me fact check. Pretty sure it's the same director. Let me double check that 1 second. Norma Ray, let me go back. One second. Oh, yep, you're right. That is my apologies. You know what? Oh, I see where I made the mistake. Thank you for fact checking me. Norma Ray and Sounder. Those are the two films that same director and same type of thing where both films I appreciate that it focuses on people that we don't see too often of, but in execution I just wasn't a fan of. Let me actually make sure in my review that I didn't put that down. I'm pretty sure. 1 second. Yeah, don't worry. I gave like a 3 out of 5. It was all right. And same with Sounder. I wanted to like Sounder, especially because you really don't see films like that. Yep. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Yep, you're right. Um, P1980 been directed at Places in the Heart. Yeah, I think Places in the Heart. I think that director did another film. I think that's why I'm getting that confused. Or I'm just getting old. Let me check. What was the other film? Oh, you know what? Robert Benton also directed Kramer versus Kramer. That's right. So he did Places in the Heart, 1984, and then 1979, Kramer versus Kramer. I liked Kramer versus Kramer. I thought that was solid. Ace Splits heard The Hunt is a really good movie with Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, The Hunt's great. That's a film that it's very complex. And not only is it complex, but it's also haunting. Like it's a film that will stick with you. I own that on Blu-ray. That's a really good film. One of the best of the 2010s. That's a good example of a film where I'm glad that IMDb's top 250 is around because I don't think I would have heard of that film if it wasn't for IMDb's top 250 years ago. Pete 1980, though I don't like Norma Ray, I think Martin Ritt is a good director. Yeah, I would say one thing I've come to terms with, I realized that once I film my Charlie Chaplin ranking video, that will be the 100th director video that I've done, meaning that there's been 100 directors that I've seen all their work. One thing I've realized is that even if a director, even if I don't necessarily like him as a filmmaker, I do appreciate when a filmmaker actually has like an artistic vision and like a voice, and where it's like when you watch one of their films, you can tell that this is what they do. And I will say that someone like Martin Ritt, you can tell it's a Martin Ritt film. Like you can tell he is very, very, very focused on having a slice of life approach to stories. And I like that because I do think that it has its place. Slice of life filmmaking, though, is something that it's going to be hit or miss for viewers. Like they're like someone like Richard Linklater. I think he's one of the best directors that does slice of life filmmaking, but he is someone that I know isn't going to work for everyone. Like something like Boyhood, it's not going to work for everyone. It really isn't. Um, A splits. If I really like Hannibal, I'll probably check it out. Yes, highly recommend you check it out. It's really really good. Can't articulate. The Hunt is great. Yes, I agree. P1980 HUD is amazing, in my opinion. I've been wanting to check that out. I've heard that's really good. That's been on my watch list on Letterboxd for a while. A splits. Don't know if this is a hot take, but Dexter's the most entertaining TV character to watch so far, in my opinion. I can respect that. There's just something about like his inner monologue combined with like seeing how he talks to other people and how like different the two are it's like almost like watching two characters, and it's cool too because you also hear how he thinks of himself, and then you see how other people look at him, and then you can see the contrast. Like we then as viewers are then like there to judge, like okay, which do we agree with, or is it like a blend of the two? I like that. All his monologues and him planning out kills just such a great character. Yeah, he's very smart, but that's something I also really like. I like how even though he's really smart, he still makes some dumb decisions, which is very human. Because no human is perfect. No human, even if they're very, very smart, it's not like, oh, like no one's not going to make dumb decisions. And it's also a show that in some cases makes the dumb decisions not because of like, oh, it's to get from one character here to there. It's like no, it makes sense given what was established. But sometimes I will say that that's not the case. Um, Ace What's I think Born in Blood is the best Dexter moment so far. Where he finds Rita in the bathtub and has his monologue. Yes, I will say that the argument that I hear sometimes is that that's where the show could have ended. I wouldn't necessarily disagree, but because of how entertained I was by seasons 5 to 8, I don't 100% agree. But I get why some people feel that way. I don't know. I really like how season 5 breaks down like his emotions and everything. Eastwoods, I would have been mad if it ended there. Pete 1980, you should watch HUD. Paul Newman is great in it. Maybe I'll try to watch it soon. Like I said, I have it on my watch list. I meant to ask Pete 1980 because I know Ace Flex doesn't have Letterboxd just yet, but do you have Letterboxd? Because if not, highly recommend you get it. It's an app that you can track like what movies you watch. For myself, and Can Articulate can probably attest to this. I do a lot of backlogging where it's like I'll find, oh wow, I watched this movie on this date, and then I'll like put the date and the month and whatnot. So Letterbox, it's a social media app, so you can like follow other people. You can make lists. You can make reviews or just rate movies. It's really nice. You can make lists too. Like I have over. Let me go Letterbox real quick again. Letterbox, I have 286 lists. I have a lot of lists. A lot of them are private, but there's also some that are public, and it's so that way I can keep track of like this. Like for example, we were talking about 1980s like ranking lists. I have like those lists, so that way I can like look at it and say, okay, this is my ranking because you can only remember so much like offhand. Ace Butts, as a full season, I think Dexter was the most entertaining as a character in season 5. Seeing him dealing with grief is so interesting. Yes, especially since he claims to be, like a psychopath. But at the same time, he shows like genuine emotions. I also like seeing him deal with religion. Season 6, they keep tackling a new theme with him every season. That's what I like in theory. I do like how in theory season 6 it is, hey, we're tackling a new topic and like, hey, maybe this is something that maybe I will be interested in. I do like that aspect. Especially because his life got upended after season 4. It was like, okay, so he's more open now to like trying that kind of stuff. So but yeah, P1980, get Letterbox. Look it up. It's Letterboxd. Highly recommend the app. If you like movies, if you like TV shows because they're adding TV shows on there now, great app. Highly recommend. Obviously, no spoilers, but I wonder if anyone else is going to figure out he's a killer. It's a good question. Lips are sealed. You know me. I wouldn't do any spoilers. That's why I try to go in stuff blind as possible if I can. All right, guys. Any other questions? I know I talked to them about like the top 10 lists that are coming out, the director ranking lists. So any other questions? Do you guys have any questions or anything you want to add? Um, I'm an open book because I was gonna say I'll probably wrap things up in like 5 minutes, just so that way I can make dinner, and then also finish watching the anime film that I was watching, and then at the same time also get ready for tonight's episode of The Sympathizer, and then also maybe watch an episode of Sons of Anarchy 5 times. I can't articulate. I use serialized for TV because it tells me and notifies me when an episode is airing this week. Oh, right on. That's pretty cool. I've heard of that app actually. I've heard it's a really good app. East Blitz. My top 5 characters in the show so far would be 1, Dexter, 2, Arthur, 3, Dokes, 4, Brian, 5, Harry. How about you? That's tough. Dexter, of course, would be number 1. Number 2 would be Arthur, Trinity Killer, and then what was her name? This is the problem. Like sometimes I'm not that good. Sometimes I'm not that good with names. Let me look up 1 second. There's one character, the love interest in season 2. I know that she drove a lot of people crazy, but I thought she was really interesting. I thought she added like a real sense of unpredictability. Lila. I thought she was like really good. Like as far as not only just love interest, but also really putting him on his toes. I thought she was really good. There's also someone else in season 7. Let me see. Let me see if I can find her name. Season 7, there is someone named Hannah. I think that she's a really good character, and I think she tests Dexter in a way that's like really fascinating. I think. But yeah, she's a great character. It's just like, well, she is. Can't believe she tried to burn Dexter and the kids. Yeah, she. I think what was fascinating about her too was that you didn't really like you didn't think anything like not that you didn't think anything of her, but you didn't think that she would be able to get pushed this far. And it's like you see a side of her where it's like, oh wow, like wow, okay. Dokes I also like. Dokes I just really liked because not only was he fascinating, but I thought he was going to last until season 7 or 8. So when he, spoiler alert, passed, I was not expecting that. So satisfied with Dexter killing him. The problem was though when they killed him, it's like season 3 wasn't able to rebound. It was like they weren't able to find a character to then replace him that would be just as interesting, which is the shame of it. Can't articulate. Are you going to continue your monthly catch-up videos? I stopped doing that. It was in December. That was the last time I did it because I remember I did not only my last video that I did, but I also I remember I reached out. I was like, hey, which videos do you guys like watching? And that was like last place. Like so like not many people were like, hey, yeah, this is the one that I'm most excited for. So I was like, okay, if monthly catch-up videos, if people don't really want to watch those, that's fine. Like I'll just put that stuff on like Letterboxd, and then for YouTube, I'll focus on like the top 10 lists, the director ranking lists, the TV show lists. And then if there's a movie I watch that I don't think a lot of people talk about that maybe me bringing it up, maybe they'll watch it, then I'll do that now too. But maybe I'll bring it back. Maybe I'll bring it back. I didn't realize people like watch those. Splits. Miguel wasn't that good in my opinion. The only good part of season 3 was the build up to season 4 and finale. Had a really weak feel in season 3. Yeah, it really did. And I also think that going back to what you were saying, how like each season Dexter tries something new. I think that season 3 is the only one that it just doesn't work. Like him trying to get in with like a politician and him also saying like, yeah, this politician, he's the one that I'm gonna actually let him know the code about. It's like, really? A politician. That's who you're gonna let know. Like, really? I'm sorry, what? That's just me though. It was just like I understand that characters are human and that humans make mistakes and that humans can sometimes be stupid. I get that. But something like that, it was just straining credibility that the show established. Maybe I'm the only one on that, but I that was what really kind of made me struggle. Yeah, season 3 is kind of him tackling the idea of having a friendship. Stupid plotline, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the actor that played like that played the politician, but I think in execution it left a lot to be desired. But I think I also mentioned season 3 there was a writer strike, so it shows. But I do cut season 3 some slack knowing that. I hated him killing people, Dexter. Yeah, it just really didn't like. It was straining credibility, as I mentioned, a little bit too much for my liking. He said Sons of Anarchy is amazing in it. Oh wow, yes, sounds like Sons of Anarchy is pretty stacked. Also, it splits. I meant to ask, do you have like Instagram or what's it called, like Facebook or anything? Because I was gonna say, like, instead of like keeping me up to date in terms of comments, you could let me know like on Instagram or whatnot. Because those are usually like I would say like better like forums. Just curious. Oh, I didn't know season 3 had a writer strike. I feel bad for being so harsh on it. Yeah, I think it was. I think it came out in 2008, I believe, and the writer strike was 2008. So yeah, it's the same thing with like Quantum of Solace. Um, I think it was Lost season 3. There's like there were certain big movies and shows that were like really affected. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen like really showed like how you need writers. That was hilarious. Can't articulate. Did you like Westworld? I'm making that my last HBO show until I start my Showtime journey. Currently watching Boardwalk Empire. Westworld, I didn't like it. I loved it. I love Westworld. I think Westworld is incredible. You'll hear some people say, "Oh, Westworld, it was a one-off. The only good season was season 1." Blah 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 blah. No, season 1 is great. Season 2 doubles down on everything I loved about season 1. Season 3 tried to rectify season 2. Basically, people were complaining that season 2 was too complex. There's too much going on. So season 3 streamlines it for mainstream audiences. So it's solid. It's good filmmaking, but story wise, eh. Season 4 is back to the old way of Westworld, season 1 and 2. And I really like season 4. Season 4, the finale, I was like, that was satisfying. That was great. So when I heard it got canceled, I wasn't complaining. I was actually in celebration mode. I was very, very happy about that. Boardwalk Empire, I think you'll really dig it. Boardwalk Empire is really good. Can't articulate. I watched the first 2 episodes and didn't like it when it first aired. I'm gonna give it a second chance because it's been like 8 years. LOL. Yeah, I would definitely recommend giving it that second chance because I think it's a great show. I think that what it tackles in season 1, 2, and 4 is fascinating. Season 3, I think, drops the ball, but I've heard different takes on Westworld. Like one of my good friends loved season 1 and loved season 3, but didn't like season 2 and 4. But as you heard, I like season 1, 2, and 4. I own all 4 seasons on 4K. I will say that, like, regardless, all 4 seasons on physical media, especially, are just mind blowing. A splits, I can add you on that. Yeah, man, definitely do. I have if you go on my my YouTube channel, I have on what's it called? I think it's let me go back 1 second. Under home, there should be like links. So I have my Letterboxd account, my movie review page on Facebook, my Instagram page, TikTok page and Twitter page. So yeah, any one of those. If and then just let me know if it's the same username, or if not, just like let me know, like, hey, this is Splits from YouTube, and I'll be like, oh yeah. So just wanted to let you know. Can't articulate. I gave Leftovers 3 chances until I finally liked it. One of the best HBO series. Yeah, Leftovers, the first time I thought it was just like, it was good-ish. But then when I rewatched it, I liked it a lot better. I agree with you. Season 3 is very intriguing. But all right, guys. Like I said, I'm going to get ready for starting to make dinner. But I will actually no, I was going to say I was going to try next week, but I just realized next week I'm probably actually not going to do a live stream. So the next live stream will probably be 2 weeks later. The reason why I say not next week is because it's Memorial Day, so I'll going to be down the shore. So odds are I don't know if I'm bringing my laptop, so odds are that I probably won't do a live stream next Sunday. But maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I will. But as of right now, 2 weeks from now, I'll try to do a live stream. And just want to say, everyone that is tuning in late, or has been asking like questions and has having a conversation, I really enjoy this. I think it's really nice, and I think you guys are the best and can articulate. See you later, Ace Plets. Add me, and also make sure you get Letterboxd Can Articulate. I look forward to reading your reviews, which are nicely articulated on Letterboxd, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good rest of your weekend. Peace.